On behalf of Community Healthcare of Texas, the staff and I want to welcome you, your friends, and family for this virtual remembrance. For almost 8 months, we have been dealing with loss. The interruption of our normal routines has contributed much to unease, and we're mounting significant changes in our lives, causing grief and loss. Most of you are grieving the loss of a loved one, while others are grieving the loss of a loved one with additional losses, such as lifetime celebrations being canceled or postponed. Some of you have experienced job loss, along with the loss of touch, gathering, and sharing meals with your own family. For others, it has been the loss of the unthinkable, the physical loss of a loved one to COVID-19. You may not have been able to say goodbye or hold their hand because of this illness. This pandemic has broken our hearts, troubled our minds, tested our professional boundaries and competencies, and stretched our anxieties and deepened our compassion. This pandemic has also touched every dimension of what it means to be loving and loved and being a human being. Despite the pandemic, you welcomed us into your lives and allowed us to care for your loved ones as they journeyed this final path. Yes, some visits were done telehealth or by phone, but we wanted to be there to continue to provide support as you navigated this journey. Today, although virtually, we are together once again, only this time not to care for, but to remember your loved one, whether they are family, friends, neighbor, or a colleague. The memories you have of your loved one will always be with us, in our hearts, in our minds, in our souls. You never know when something will trigger a memory. Sometimes it's a smell or a place. Some memories will be happy and some will be sad, but they will be yours and ours to cherish. A dear friend once said to me while at her husband's funeral, "This isn't where I wanted to be." Today, many of you will say the same thing. This isn't where I wanted to be either. But here we are nonetheless, together. We can't stop death from happening. What we can do is choose to remember those who died, to celebrate the time we had with them, and to hold their memories tight in our hearts. Tom Adams said in his book, The Heart of Grief, grieving people who want their loved ones back need to look for other ways to love them. While they're apart, desperate longing prevents them from finding different ways of loving. Letting go of having them with us in the flesh is painful and necessary, but it is not the same thing as completely letting go. We still hold the gift they gave us, the values and meanings we found in their lives. Yes, we can love them as we cherish their memories and treasure their legacies in our practical lives, souls, and spirits. Today, you are not alone. We come here today with our hearts full of hope and love as we remember and celebrate your loved one and anyone else who died in our communities. At Community Healthcare of Texas, we honor all who are grieving this day. The service is for all of you.
In the rising sun and its going down,
we remember them.
In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them.
In the opening of buds and in the warmth of the summer,
we remember them.
in the rustling of the leaves and the beauty of autumn,
We remember them.
In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them.
When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them.
When we are lost and sick at heart,
We remember them.
When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them.
So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us, as we remember them.
we remember them.
We remember them.
We remember them.
We remember them. We remember them. We remember them.
We lit the first candle in the darkness of the pandemic. We light a candle in a darkness we can feel, taste, and almost touch. A darkness that insists we keep our distance from one another, away from any touch or hug, or any basic punctuation of compassion and condolence. We could never have imagined family and friends not being able to support us with casseroles and offering a hand in our time of grief. We could never have imagined putting the celebrations of life on hold to another time. We could never have imagined funeral services limited to a certain number of family and friends, or not being able to gather with family and friends after the service to share the stories of our loved one that fill the soul. We could never have imagined watching a streamed funeral service or celebration of life, or even this service of remembrance. The darkness has denied us the ability to be warmed by another's smile and upheaved the way we listen, care, and grieve. Nothing could have prepared us for such a time as this. Grief is always difficult, but that is especially true in the midst of this darkness. It is harder to mourn. It is more complicated. We are left with more questions than we can answer or even put into words. Thankfully, the poet Rainer Marie Rilke gave us a place to start. He writes, "I would like to beg you, dear sir, as well as I can, to have patience with everything unresolved in your heart and try to love the questions themselves as they were locked rooms or books written in a foreign language. Don't search for the answers which could be given to you now because you would not be able to live. And the point is to live everything, live the questions now. Perhaps then, someday far into the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into an answer. So we will live each day, each hour, with hope, and we light this candle to recognize what we have lost and what we still hope for."
As we begin this meditation of candles, we would like to remind you to find a candle, a flashlight, open your blinds and just let the light come in, or just turn on a light to illumine the light and life of your loved one. We will pause a few minutes for you and to gather what you need. At the beginning of the service, we lit a single candle signifying the light of your loved one, who still illumines in your surroundings and in your world. May their light surround you and their love enfold you. We have come into this sacred place this afternoon to remember your losses, to grieve with you so that you may find comfort and walk on the path toward healing. As we light each candle, may your inner stillness connect you to your loved one and others through the words that are spoken. And may these words bring healing and hope in your days ahead.
We light this candle to recognize the mystery of life and death. In awe and wonder, our thoughts stretch to understand the life we live between the two eternities of being born and having to die. And yet we feel a power greater than us in the center of each of us as unique being. We experience it through the changes of our individual lives. We see and sense it at work in the life and in the changes of every other living thing. Like a flame passing from candle to candle, this mystery of life passes from being to being, from generation to generation. This power is the unity of the whole of creation, past, present, and future.
The candle of memory. We light this candle to remember your loved one's life. Let this flame symbolize human life. Just as a candle has an allotted span to burn, so does a human life have an allotted span of years to live. As it burns, perhaps it was just a short span, or a very long span of time. It radiated heat, and light. The glow and heat, the passion of life are passed on long after the candle is extinguished. Though the flame of your loved one's life has been extinguished, your memory's eyes still sees the person. Your mind remembers the power of your loved one's personality. How your loved one walked through time and in this world. How your loved one touched and shaped our lives. The light of the persons we remember has changed to shine in another time and place with their divine presence, and no longer with us.
We light this candle to signify community. The communities where those who died did their living and were cared for in their dying. The communities where your loss occurred and the community we create today in being together, perhaps with our family members or even with other families who are participating in our Facebook Live event. Yes, COVID-19 has forced us to offer our services virtually in these unprecedented times. However, more than ever, we need one another in our grief, in our love, and in our starting again. We each need a place to be really heard. The deep loss of death and accompanying emotion of grief are best comforted by our community. Friendly faces, kindly touches, warm embraces, halting words, or no words at all convey shared empathy. Death has a strange way of sorting out the essentials of life and living, and we see through our tears what really matters. Family, friends, and others are things that really matter, and for them we are thankful.
We light this candle to acknowledge your grief. We cannot reverse the loss. We can, however, enter fully into the pain and hurt of your loss, and thereby slowly help you move through to a measure of healing. We cannot pretend to make amends for your loss, but we can give you the continuing promise that we shall walk quietly beside you, hearing your words, seeking to understand the depth of your loss and the pain of your grief, and give you encouragement and support to continue living.
We light this candle to signify that your sorrow and joy are now woven together in the tapestry of your life. We cannot deny the grief that your loved one's death or loss has brought you. However, you must let it spill from your heart. You must let your sorrow have its time, because your joy has had its time while your loved one lived and breathed here on this earth. It is because you knew, loved, and delighted in your relationship with your loved one, who we remember today, that you feel such sorrow in your loved one's life ending. Though your sorrow is strong when you remember your grief, let us remind you to not rush your grief. Just take one day at a time to grieve. There will be a new day when once again your joy in life will come again and be greater than your sorrow in your loved one's absence. For now, just be and allow yourself to grieve.
The candle of thanksgiving. We light this candle in thanksgiving. We are thankful for your loved one's gift of life, even though life does not come without death and endings. We are thankful for your precious one's love that never dies. We are glad that your family and friends have seen your loved one's face, were influenced by your loved one's personality, and felt the love that was exchanged. Your loved one's deeds continue to influence all who were loved and touched by them. We have all been woven into the tapestry of their life. We are thankful that time lessons and memories heal the grief you felt at death, and even now, bringing even deeper understandings and a more tender acceptance of your loved one. We are thankful for the comfort we give one another, which was grown among us in this hour. We are thankful that life continues, passing from generation to generation, Most of all, we are thankful that love never ends.
Our final candle we light is for the love that your loved one had for you, the love you have for your loved one, and for the love that has brought us here today. Hold on to that love, even in the midst of sorrow. Grief is the last act of love we can give those we have loved. Where there is deep grief, there is great love. In the spirit of this love, we say our goodbye to our loved one.
All the candles are lit, and the words spoken represent something much more powerful than we can ever imagine. All the candles on the table have created this circle of love and support. Together we shall join hearts and hands across the earth and decorate the world with hope and healing and remembered laughter. We shall remain forever linked through the love of our absent children, parents, husbands and wives, siblings, grandparents, and friends, all our loved ones who dance across the rainbows ahead of us. We are a family circle, broken by death and mended by love. May this day and every day be days for us to laugh and sing, to dance and dream. May this day and every day be days of celebration and the chance to give one more hug, to say one more I love you. May love be what each of you remember the most.
the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace hath brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Than when we first begun.
Hi, I'm Kelly, the Child Life Specialist with Community Healthcare of Texas. Please follow along as we read this story about connection and loss.
The Invisible String. Lisa and Jeremy, the twins, were asleep one calm and quiet night. Suddenly, it began to rain very hard. Thunder rumbled until it got so loud that it woke them up. "Mommy, Mommy," they cried out as they ran to her. "Don't worry, you two. It's just the storm making all that noise. Go back to bed." "We want to stay close to you," said Jeremy. "We're scared." Mom said, "You know we're always together, no matter what." "But how can we be together when you're out here and we're in bed?" said Lisa. Mom held something up right in front of them and said, "This is how." Rubbing their sleepy eyes, the twins came closer to see what Mom was holding. "I was about your age when my mommy first told me about the invisible string." "I don't see a string," said Jeremy. "You don't need to see the invisible string. People who love each other are always connected by a very special string made of love." "But if you can't see it, how do you know it's there?" Lisa asked. "Even though you can't see it with your eyes, you can feel it with your heart and know that you're always connected by everyone you love. When you're at school and you miss me, your love travels all the way down the string until I feel it tug on my heart. And when you tug it right back, we feel it in our hearts," said Jeremy. "Does Jasper the cat have an invisible string?" Lisa asked. "She sure does," said Mom. "And best friends like me and Lucy?" asked Lisa. "Best friends too." "How far can the string reach?" "Anywhere and everywhere," Mom said. "Would it reach me even if I were a submarine captain deep in the ocean?" asked Jeremy. "Yes," Mom said, "even there." "Or a mountain climber?" "Even there." "A dancer in France?" "Even there." "A jungle explorer?" "Even there." "An astronaut out in space?" "Yes, even there." "Does the string go away when you're mad at us?" "Never," said Mom. "Love is stronger than anger, and as long as love is in your heart, the string will always be there." "Or even when you get older and can't agree about things like what movie to see, what game to play in the back seat, or what time to go to bed." "Oh, that's right. You two should be in bed." And with that, they all laughed as Mom chased the twins back to their beds. Within a few minutes, they were asleep, even though the storm was still making the same loud noises outside. As they slept, they started dreaming of all the invisible strings they have, and the strings their friends have, and their friends have, and their friends have, until everyone in the world was connected by invisible strings. And from deep inside, they could now clearly see no one is ever alone.
When I am gone. When I am gone, release me. Let me go. I have so many things to see and do. You mustn't tie yourself to me with tears. Be happy that we had so many beautiful years. I gave to you my love. You can only guess how much you gave to me in happiness. I thank you for the love you each have shown. But now it's time I traveled all alone. So grieve a while for me, if grieve you must. Then let your grief be comforted by trust. It's only for a while that we must part, so bless the memories within your heart. I won't be far away, for life goes on. So if you need me, call and I will come. Though you can't see or touch me, I'll be near. And if you listen with your heart, you'll hear all my love around you soft and clear. And then, when you must come this way alone, I'll greet you with a smile and say, welcome home.
And now a poem by Bianca Sparaccino. Sometimes healing consists of sitting in coffee shops and writing the years from your mind. Sometimes healing is laughing until you cry. It is kissing your friends' faces and being moved and inspired by your life. And sometimes healing is rest. It is hiding from the world. It is having everything inside of you be still and quiet and eerily bare. Sometimes healing feels like nothing at all, like you are a silhouette of hope and hurt at the same time. Do not fight it. Whatever your healing looks like today, whatever it consists of, just allow it to be what it is. Just take care of yourself.
We have lit 4 candles today. A red one to remember those who shed their blood in combat and made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our country. A white candle to remind us of all the POWs and MIAs who are not yet home from wartime services. A blue candle to symbolize our eternal love of those who did come home to us but have left us. A yellow candle to remember the growing tragedy of veterans and soldiers who lost their lives because of suicide. Let us just pause for a moment to take a breath and consider the true meaning of honoring those Americans who served and died while defending our freedoms. May we be forever grateful.
Today we remember our veterans who are present with us and our veterans who are resting from their labor eternally. For our veterans, we give thanks. We honor those who have served this country and others. For those who have given of their time and their talent in the military. For those who have sacrificed so much that we might be blessed. For those who have always understood themselves as servants who went above and beyond the call of duty. We honor those who have served abroad, and for those whom nightmares of war return home with them. We honor those who suffer from post-traumatic stress syndrome, who battle with horrors that the rest of us can only imagine. We confess that it is too easy for us to forget their struggles. Help us to remember that the duty of our veterans is a fiber of the word freedom, and help us to remember our freedom can only be made stronger by our recognition of their service and sacrifice. Our veterans have created a clear pathway for us to continue, and we must never waver from that path of freedom and democracy. We must also carry their love, honor, and duty forward to the future generations that are to come. Our children must know who they were, what they did, and why they did it. To do anything less is a disservice to their sacrifice and their memories. We honor our veterans' families as they care for their loved ones without ceasing. We are thankful for their sacrifices that they made while their loved ones fought for our freedom. Give them patience and wisdom and strength to endure, hope and healing for all they carry within their heart. May we be the vehicles of grace so that they may find hope in their healing. We are thankful for allowing us to pause on this day, all those called to this great service for our nation. Grant the veterans and their families peace. We honor these words in humility and honor. Amen.
Will everyone please remain standing for the playing of taps? Taps was born of a French bugle call. The melody was rearranged during the Civil War as a call for lights out. It is a simple melody of 24 notes, which is 150 years old. It is played to remember those who gave their lives in service of the United States. It is heard at commemorative ceremonies throughout the nation. The final bugle call is a sign of respect and a tribute to those known and unknown.
A few words from Jennifer and I before we end our service today.
Amid all this uncertainty, the grief care team at Community Healthcare of Texas remains committed to providing much-needed support during these unprecedented times. Through online support groups, virtual events for adults and children, and individual phone counseling. For many people, online grief support groups offer a level of comfort because they are in their own space. Our goal is to create a safe space for grieving where there is no judgment or expectation of the bereaved individual, to provide education about the grief process, and to help you connect to others that are experiencing grief. For more information about our grief care services, please visit our website, www.chot.org, or follow us on Facebook at Community Healthcare of Texas.
Let me introduce to you our bereavement team. Jennifer Caballero is one of our bereavement coordinators. She serves the Mejia, PHP, which is our inpatient unit, Waco, and Whitney areas. Kelly Cox is a certified child life specialist who serves the Dallas, Cleburne, Fort Worth, inpatient units, and Waco areas. Liz Clark is one of our bereavement coordinators who serves the Cleburne, west side of Fort Worth, and both of our downtown and Hughley inpatient units. I am Emily Pema. I'm one of our bereavement coordinators who serves the Arlington, Dallas, east side of Fort Worth, and pediatric teams. On behalf of Community Healthcare of Texas, we want to thank Dr. Kara Pollard, our trumpet player, and the Amazed by Grace singers for sharing their gift of music. We want to thank Liam McDermott, who helped us with our video editing. A huge thank you to all the staff who participated in our agency-wide virtual service of remembrance. Thank you.
And now for our closing. All the candles are being extinguished except for the single candle lit at the beginning of the service. May the light that remains be a reminder of your loved one, even on the days when darkness overshadows everything. I pray that as we lit each candle and you heard the words spoken, that you found some words of comfort and hope. We know that your loved one's flame still burns deep inside each of you, as well as all of us who cared for your loved one. Please rise as you are able, so that we may stand together as we conclude this service of remembrance and celebration, a service of sorrow and joy for the life of your loved one. Hear this blessing. Deep peace of the running waves to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sunshine warm upon your face. May the rain fall softly on your fields. Until we meet again, may nature hold you in the hollow of her hand. And now for the benediction. Spirit of life, be with us, giving us the peace of acceptance and understanding, and the assurance in those things that never die, these things that pass from person to person through the generations into eternity, especially the gift of love. In the spirit of love we have gathered. In the spirit of love we depart. Amen.
Tonight I hold this candle in memory of you, hoping someday, somehow, my love will shine through. I close my eyes, lost in the glow. There are so many things I want you to know.